Hi, I'm Dennis Stegwall, President of the Housing Innovation Alliance. How has your role changed through that career evolution? And do you have any plans for reinvention on the production front?
Yeah, so since I started with Pulte back in 2001, my role has vastly changed. Obviously, one of the things that I hearken back to my success is just starting in the field and seeing what the customer goes through, what the trades experience, what it is like to be a preferred builder to work for. So since customer relations first, it's evolved into customer engagement and how the interaction between the customer and the builder can improve. And since I've been with Century Communities since 2017, it's really about lean processes, process improvement, production, and safety. They really go hand in hand together. And all the while, it's always anchored by the customer experience. What are we going to do internally that's going to impact the customer experience, whether it be a cleaner job site, whether it's better trade relations, whether it's a better warranty experience, a better buyer experience.
That's sort of that is the intent of this model, is to really open up, re-establish the lines of trust, and have people feeling good about working with one another again. I think our builder customers really enjoy the fact that they have one contact for a significant portion of not just the house construction cycle, but certainly a large portion of the total house costs. So we drive the entire front end rough side with a little bit of trim side in our business model. So if there's an issue in either timeline or production or anything else, there's just one discussion that we need to have with the builder customer, and then we'll control all of the challenges or issues and find a solution without all of the traditional finger pointing. That's just a waste of time, and it usually creates more more costs, and it drives more frustration in the process. And so that's what we're seeing initially, is that the builders appreciate that there's a lack of adult babysitting, that they can then focus in on the stuff that they need to focus in on, and we can worry about the actual production side. The more that we're able to have a team first approach, where there's not this individual agenda where I'm just looking at what's best for a framer and I'm just looking what's best for an HVAC installer, but rather we've got all of the key rough production guys coming together and seeing how to most effectively and efficiently build a house. It's been a real game changer for us initially.
Now that you're an advocate in the executive recruiting space, how has your prior work experience informed the way that you approach matching the right organization with the right candidate?
My trajectory has been really interesting in the industry, and I never thought where I started is where I would end up. And so I think I've seen universal skill sets emerge, and I've been able to connect the dots in the industry. What I think we're seeing in a really tight labor market right now is that so many individuals, at least in my network, 40% of individuals have made a move in the last year. And so finding those linear trajectories is impossible. And instead, we have to focus on individuals who might have a different lens, who might have critical thinking skills. So that's what I really take back to now being at Hall Williams, is looking for individuals who don't fit the mold directly, but they have enough insight to fit the mold in a unique way. And I think what's been really interesting in the more traditional real estate space is we had a huge deficit in our recruiting and sort of like talent attraction efforts, especially post the recession. So now we have a huge gap of talent in the industry. And so we have to get a little bit more creative. And that's predominantly what I try to look for, having flipped the switch and now being on the people side.
What are the biggest trends that are changing the way that you think about talent?
I'll first touch on, how do you retain the talent that you currently have? One of my favorite questions is to bypass the VP and go straight to the field and look at what they're building and talk to either the trades or to our field superintendents and ask them, how do you feel? Just a very open-ended question, how do you feel? And for the ones where they're part of a dynamic culture and one where they feel like there's ongoing learning and career opportunities, they'll give you answers that will just warm your soul and just make you feel really good. Where it becomes dangerous, and hopefully in a short period of time I connect with people, I ask them the same question, and they'll tell me things like, "I just feel invisible. I feel like I'm not getting managed well. I don't know what my next opportunity is. I just feel like I'm just part of a machine," right? And so when it comes to retaining talent, I want to make sure that I'm really listening to everyone. In terms of attracting talent, and I don't think this part's changing, is do you have something greater than just making money and delivering homes? Do you have a mission greater than that? And the cliche goes, people don't leave their companies, they leave their managers. And so how do we make sure that our managers are pouring out their heart and soul? Because the people coming in, whether you're young or old, they're going to smell BS from a mile away. And within a couple of weeks of employment, they're already making a decision whether they're staying or going.
In addition to having a shrinking workforce, we also are having a less experienced workforce. And so with that shift, we need to sort of innovate better construction methods that addresses those complexities that we've already built into our home production and construction cycle that makes it easier for those that are less experienced to come in without the drawback of inefficiencies or further extending our production cycle. So we've got a plumbing company that utilizes robots to do their floor layout. We've got our framing company that pre-drills all the studs so that our electricians can run wire through it. We've got all of our truss designs that are used to that works with our HVAC teams to make their duct runs a little bit more predictable. And so stuff like that just removes some of the experience needs, I think is just going to be required for us to even stay level with where we're at, much less, try to grow with the demands of today's workforce. There's a difference between a simplification of product and a simplification of process. And so I don't think we're sitting here saying we need to change, make our product more simple, because I don't know that meets the customer's, ultimate demands or what we want to sell into from a livable perspective. But I think our process can be simplified to address all the nuances that just make the construction of those homes, much easier to understand.
What are some of the new roles or career paths that you've seen emerge over the last 3 to 5 years in the production building space or residential construction space?
So we've really seen this emergence of chief innovation officer, director of R&D. Individuals are starting to look at different product designs. Sustainability, ESG has also been a buzzword and is sort of inclusive in that group, but also capital innovation, right? A lot of builders are moving to asset-light models. That has sort of changed the way that they've practiced and done their business in the past. And so it's really been neat to kind of see that emerge, but also process improvement is huge. So industrial engineers, program management offices, individuals are really trying to create a more unified approach and also a systemic change to become more efficient, which is really, really neat. And then I would say tech. Some builders are moving to the tech space. They're adopting individuals from prop tech, product managers, trying to build internal softwares, trying to create user experiences for the customer that are more aligned with smart home technology. So I think the space is really improving quite a bit and still has ways to go. So that's what I'm seeing right now. It's lots of innovation, lots of process improvement, technology, but I do also hope that we start factoring in the people. We really get to see kind of both aspects of the real estate industry, right? The prop tech side and then the more traditional side. And what we're noticing is prop tech will really build a culture. There's a playbook. There's a lot of transparency. It goes back to Ralph's point of making sure that individuals don't feel invisible. And I think in our industry, generally, at least in traditional real estate, we could do that better. When you walk in on day one, you don't necessarily know what the next step or trajectory in your career could be. And so I think adding a little bit more of that transparency, of having core values or a philosophy that individuals can abide by, of having more diversity within the industry as well, I think that helps individuals see, oh, this could be an industry that I could be attracted to, or this could be an industry that I would like to stay in.